A traditional ruler in the Republic of Cameroon has been fired by Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration. He is the third-class chief in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The reasons for the firing of the traditional ruler, who is equally a key member of a leading opposition political party in the Republic of Cameroon, will be given to you in this edition of the news. And local inhabitants of the Ja and Lobo division in the south region of Cameroon have blocked circulation between Saint-Malema and Mengong, all localities in that division of the south region of Cameroon. They are asking the company in charge of the road construction to pay them indemnities. We tell you more in this edition of the news. Ladies and gentlemen, I am from Sanda from EQUINOXE Central News Desk in Douala, Cameroon. Thanks for joining us. Thanks once again for joining us on the primetime newscast on EQUINOXE Television. This is EQUINOXE Central News Desk in Douala, Cameroon. We take you straight to the south region of the Republic of Cameroon, where some local inhabitants of the locality, that is notably those of Mengong and Saint-Malema, have blocked the main road that is linking Saint-Malema, which is chief town of the Ja and Lobo division of the south region of Cameroon, to Mengong, another locality of that division of the south region of Cameroon. They are asking the company in charge of the construction of this 74-kilometer stretch of road to pay their indemnities. They say their properties were destroyed by the road project, and for several weeks now they've not been able to receive money from the company in charge, even after promises by the authorities of the locality and equally the company management that their money will be paid. They say if the money is not paid, people will not be able to travel between Saint-Malema and Mengong. Today they went to the streets and of course blocked the roads. As you see there in the images, no vehicles were able to circulate between the two localities, and of course they say the protest must continue until they receive the money after having lost properties mostly destroyed in the construction of the road linking Mengong and Saint-Malema. The said move equally prompted the descent to the field of some local administrative officials of the locality, notably the senior divisional officer for the Ja and Lobo division, who accompanied by the traditional rulers of Saint-Malema, tried to convince the local inhabitants to leave the road free for circulation while they work with company officials to see how the money owed them can be paid. And of course, we are closely following up this particular story. We'll be updating you in subsequent editions of News on EQUINOXE Television. And back to the city of Douala, about 6 shops have been reduced to ashes in a fire incident in the Yupwe market. Yupwe is another locality in the Douala 1 municipality. Immaculate Fogwe went to Yupwe and brought back the following report.
The fire incident that broke out at about 8:45 p.m. on Thursday, December 5th at the Yupwe market has reduced about 6 shops into ashes. According to traders, the fire erupted from the sector of dealers in contraband fuel.
Chief God give, take it. And no problem where anything will cause this problem because of the petrol. Because of the petrol. And every time they will tell them, men do not sell petrol within the place where people are there. And no another thing will cause the problem except petrol. And we'll thank God because so many people don't already lost them cargo plenty. And one,
I was right in Bonamosade. They called me and said my house is on fire. I was working in one colonial house. They had to carry me right away here. So fortunately for me, I came and saw that everything was good. And I'm praying to Almighty that anything that is going to take place again, it should not happen in my. So I'm praying that those that are here now, they should also pray for God that what has just happened should not take place for the second time.
The prompt intervention of the firefighting unit was able to contain the flames from spreading to other areas. Goods worth millions of francs CFA, according to traders, were lost due to the fire incident.
In a move qualified by the traditional ruler concerned as a total violation of the laws in Cameroon and equally his individual right, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paula Tanganji, has today, in a decision, fired the traditional ruler from his position. In information that is in a release signed, the Minister of Territorial Administration said with effect from the signature of the order, Mr. Bilwa Efam, a third-class chief or third-class ruler of Mesa Koba, a locality in Yaoundé, that is the Yaoundé 3 subdivision in the Fundi division of the Central region of Cameroon, is relieved of his duties of a traditional ruler. And of course, the minister indicated that the traditional ruler has been relieved of his functions because of incitement and instigation to insurgents in Cameroon, characterized insubordination towards administrative authorities, active participation in forbidden public manifestations. It should be noted that the traditional ruler concerned is a member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement's political party. He equally belongs to the group that is the executive arm of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement's political party of Professor Maurice Kamto. And of course, the traditional ruler, speaking to Equinox some few minutes ago, equally indicated that he had never received a call to order as stipulated by the laws in Cameroon, neither has he been warned prior to this decision of the Minister of Territorial Administration. It should equally be noted that according to the steps explained by the traditional ruler, the law implies that a call to order be given to a person concerned and a warning given, followed by a 3 months maximum suspension before a definite or a decision as such to remove him from his position, that which he did not receive from the minister, who today relieved him of his function of traditional ruler of that part of the city of Yaoundé. And now we take you to the northwest region of Cameroon to talk at the situation or look at the situation of children who have been displaced by the worsening crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. In a report that followed, Mbu Stella tried to question the possibility of those administering the measles vaccines to Cameroonian children to get to these children, most of them who are living in difficult areas that cannot be easily accessed by health officials. Mbustela.
In 2016, measles contributed to 89,780 deaths of children under 5 around the world. In Cameroon, the situation is alarming as the number of deaths increased from 7 to 34 between 2016 and September 2019. Statistics from the Public Health Ministry indicate. In order to reverse this trend, the government and partners have organized a vaccination campaign against measles and rubella, coupled with deworming and the administration of vitamin A to children between the ages of 9 to 59 months, 12 to 59 months, and 0 to 11 months respectively.
I am aware that measles can even kill my child. Since the campaign started on the 4th against the measles, we have not seen them around our houses, around our neighborhoods. But we are still hoping that maybe they'll pass. But for me, I am preparing to take my child to the nearby health center to vaccinate him against measles.
The worrying issue for now are children trapped in the bushes as their parents flee the violence in some parts of Anglophone Cameroon. They may miss out on this life-saving vaccination campaign. For they too to benefit, a return to normalcy is imminent if the country must be free of the occurrence of new cases of measles and rubella. Parents and guardians are advised to protect the health of their children and save the future of the nation by allowing their children receive these vaccines, which are free of charge. The campaign is ongoing and will end on December 8, 2019.
In Ngouti, in the Coupé-Maningouba division, southwest region of Cameroon, life is very difficult, even as the Anglophone crisis worsens further. Derek Jatu in the following report takes us to Ngouti, life and war.
Abba Stephen is drying his cocoa beans on a street in Ngouti subdivision. He braved the tension and the gun battles to arrive at this stage with his lone source of livelihood, cocoa farming.
Before you want to see the cocoa, the commotion under hard struggle, gun shooting, we dey for inside bush, a bullet the meter way for inside bush. So in a wider way, you see we the professor will drown for Kuntaye. My family now for here the story.
He told me that his family is kept just nearby, but he will not take me there for obvious reasons. Instead, he took me round to show me what the war has left behind for them. Houses perforated by bullets.
All sides, the whole place now only bullets.
And abandoned in the grass.
All sides.
This house right behind me, access has totally been colonized by vegetation. There's grass everywhere. Of course, this particular residence has been abandoned for years, certainly because of the Anglophone crisis. And such houses like this one behind me are nearly everywhere here in this Ngouti subdivision. Ngouti has never been this empty until the Anglophone crisis came in 2016, and nothing is the same again. Each abandoned house here, I was told that its owner either left for safety or was arrested or has been killed. Meeting Eno Richard, he said he was just from the bush. He is sick, and he was carried by well-wishers into the bush when the tension in the town was unbearable. And now that the situation is a bit calm, he has been carried back into his home. He took me under the mango tree to tell me his story.
It affected me so much because some of my brother and my friend don't die plenty. They don't die over. It affect me with poverty. Okay. Hospital day here, any function, nothing. If you want to get hospital, now right for woman, they born, they carry right for a young, or sometimes for night, they carry for by men.
Everyone left the town when Ngouti Center was transformed into a battlefield. And today, some are coming back.
We know that we had already all escaped because of these political incidents. But thank God we have come back because there's peace returning to Ngouti. I want everybody to come back to Ngouti.
His name is Tom George Enoch, and he is the mayor of Ngouti Council. Amid gunshot, his office succeeded in constructing this guest house. And today, Chakwin Jean-Marie, the senior divisional officer for Coupé-Maningouba division, is in town. And the Ngouti mayor took him round to show him what the council is doing at the moment.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was saying that there are very few councils who can say that they have, like the one we visited. It is encouraging, and the Lord Mayor, you have all my support. Yeah, you have all my support. The second phase will be launched in any moment from now. You have my support, and even the third phase. So it's a very great project for Ngouti.
Ngouti subdivision is one of the most hit areas by this Anglophone crisis, and the population is crying for one thing: peace.
One peace, and make Cameroon, any individual Cameroon begin, make peace be. More love, wala papa popo, make country make sweet as potato.
Okay, thank you.
And the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism will in 2020 have its office going operational in Boya, chieftain of the southwest region of Cameroon. The information was made public by the Secretary General of the Commission during a visit to the southwest region. Derek Jatu reports.
The Bilingualism Commission recently paid a visit to Boya, the southwest regional capital.
You know, the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism is a national structure. So it has to go right down to the regions. Our strategy of deployment was that at the headquarters for now of every region, we implant a regional service.
its Secretary General is heading the team. And on the field, they are joined by Dr. Muhammadu, the Secretary General at the Southwest Governor's Office.
And you heard the Secretary giving instructions that the office should be ready by the end of this month, right? This means that in January, we will be free to move in and start work.
It is now clear that come January 2020, the regional office of Bilingualism Commission will go operational in the region. And this building here at Tubok Junction, for those who know Boya, will be hosting the Bilingualism Regional Office. And just nearby is an important information on this billboard announcing the 2020 municipal and legislative elections by Elekam in Boya, and all in French. Real work pundits say await the Bilingualism Commission in the Southwest region, and some are already just on their doorsteps.
And still in the Fako division of the Southwest region of Cameroon, the chieftaincy squabbled at the Modica chiefdom in that division is far from being over. Recently, the SDO for Fako ordered an investigation to the problems, as Davison Maimo reports from Limbe.
From the old, the young, both men and women, almost the entire village of Modica in Tiko subdivision traveled to Limbe to defend Prince Prizo Tulu Valerie, the son of the late Chief Tulu, as chieftaincy squabbles rocks the village. Some kingmakers say Prince Prizo Tulu Valerie is to be robbed of his birthright as heir apparent to the throne of Modica village.
My chief from Modica village is Prince Tutu. Because he must take over the father throne.
That means we are on Bunako. If your papa died, I get 40.
In a closed-door meeting at the conference hall of the Senior Divisional Officer for Fako, chaired by the Second Assistant Senior Divisional Officer for Fako, Madame Ashu Charlotte, the two camps and kingmakers were cautioned not to take things into their hands. Nonetheless, the Second Assistant Senior Divisional Officer, Madame Ashu Charlotte, sources say, instructed the Divisional Officer for Tiko Subdivision to carry an in-depth investigation and collect all relevant facts pending another meeting. The present Chief Mbola Mongo Simon, we are told, have a privatory decision as Chief of Modica without any due consultative talk.
Family should don't decide, say me they go look at this thing till this beginning big. Today, the pikin to don't big, according to our rule and regulation of our culture, he get right for take back a papa stone. So now why the pikin the fight for say, may they give you a papa stone, and we been at the right thing.
As you know, Bara is a grown man now, so this is rightful time for him to take what belongs to him.
Since the demise of Chief Tulu of Modica village in 1999, the village, we are reliably informed, has never been the same again.
And violence remains a problem in the school milieu in Cameroon, especially gender-based. To be able to eradicate this problem within the school milieu in Cameroon, gender empowerment education brought together some stakeholders of the primary, secondary, and even institutions of higher learning to the city of Douala to sensitize them on ways to fight against gender-based violence in the school milieu. They outlined forms of gender-based violence in schools in Cameroon, like rape, sexual assault, and equally some other forms like psychological gender-based violence that is being meted on both sexes in schools in the Republic of Cameroon. The participants were armed on skills on how to help learners fight against that problem of gender-based violence. At the end of the event in the city of Douala, we hooked up with some of the participants.
In my own school, I witnessed it from both parents, teachers, pupils, students, and so on. Because gender violence is not only about maybe beating, there are so many ways of it. Bullying children, that's violence. Insulting is violence. Any form of an activity that can put a child at an uncomfortable situation. That's violence in school that we need to work on.
I think some of the things that permit the existence of rape in schools is that students take drugs. Students take drugs, and when they take those drugs, it causes them now to rape. In other situations, girls dress indecently in schools, and when they dress like that, their schoolmates see them almost half naked. They are forced to rape them. But we are not saying that it is correct for you to rape because somebody is indecent. Yeah, there are different instances of rape. Sometimes you even have administrative authorities raping students, or some just authorities in the country raping students, and the rape can be same-sex rape or maybe opposite-sex rape. Okay, I think the authorities have failed because, first of all, we have to lead by example. We have to lead by example. First of all, before you stop something, you should be of exemplary character, behavior.
GID has been working with schools on school-related gender-based violence. Those we teach today, they go to the next class, they implement it, and they teach those coming behind them. Teachers, so administrators still call us, they talk about violence, they talk about rape cases. Sometimes the organization intervenes with the help of government officials, police, social workers, and that is only if the administration of the school wants us to get involved. First of all, violence in schools doesn't begin in school. It starts from the home. So we go to the homes, we talk to parents, we go to the community, we talk to the community, because violence in school happens from the home, on the way to school, and in school. Most of the times we tackle teachers because when these students leave from the house, they spend most of their days with their teachers. So we take more time with the teachers because we have to help them. While helping the students, we help their parents. But that notwithstanding, we plead with parents to also try to cultivate better ways to bring up their children and to try to collaborate with school authorities.
The sum of 600 million francs CFA has been voted as the 2020 budget for the Kumba 3 Council in the Meme division of the Southwest region of Cameroon. According to the mayor of the Kumba 3 Council, John Kona Makia, the main projects earmarked for the current year were all executed. He, however, cried that the effects of the ongoing Anglophone crisis on the income of the council has pushed the council not to be able to realize some of its key objectives. Listen to the mayor in the following excerpt selected by Simat Njikangebre.
I think that if I have a project that has not been realized, is the headmaster's house in my village. It is not that it is zero, it will not be realized, but I think that it will be realized. But for now, it has not been realized. We will not spare any franc placed at our disposal for development. We will do everything possible to see that we realize those projects. You know, from the bottom of your mind, go all around and here, even with the crisis, Makia will come back. I will come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the first part of news. Coming up next is Talking Point. On today's Talking Point, we are receiving Tamai Jarvis. He is a negotiator and a journalist. Tamai Jarvis, thanks for joining us on Talking Point.
Thank you very much. For me, I'm Sean Sana. It's a privilege to be here.
You followed us news from the start with the first report to the end. We started with a report of the Minister of Territorial Administration that is firing a traditional ruler in Cameroon. Removing him from his position of a traditional ruler. The traditional ruler in turn is saying that some of the steps legally as per the law in Cameroon were not followed before his eventual sacking. As a negotiator, what is lacking?
First of all, I must admit that it's a crisis, and it's a crisis because the traditional ruler is no longer a chief, and the Minister of Territorial Administration actually acted in conformity with the government agenda. Remember that both parties have their different agenda. I think what they have to do at this level is that, first of all, there are procedures or process in order to terminate the contract of a chief. First, we need to understand that we are in two different backgrounds. Maybe those from the Anglophone expedition is different from those from the Francophone expedition. From where I'm coming from, a traditional ruler needs not to be elected or appointed by state authorities. I'm coming from the northwest region, to be more precise, in Way village. And in my village, a traditional ruler to become a traditional ruler is hereditary.
Yes.
Your father must be a chief and the son takes over. And at that level, the administration just approve and ensure that you work in conformity with state law, maintain peace and order, and ensure that there is development in that community. So in this level, we want to say that maybe as per the tradition of that other side of the nation, within the French-speaking expedition, maybe the traditional ruler has to receive full authority from administrative authority. Thus, it is incumbent if his activities are not in conformity with state agenda. Remember that the state has its agenda, and that agenda must be enforced by Minister of Territorial Administration. But I feel that the first stage, what they were supposed to first of all issue, there's a warning letter. You first of all call that person, you give a letter and make the public to understand that you are calling for this person to report based on matter that you have seen, which may end up causing problem within the state and may end up jeopardizing national security. The second time you issued a letter, and the third time you issue a warning. And this level now, you call that same traditional ruler to the. That's why we have chief conferences. We have the chiefs have their conferences. As a Minister of Territorial Administration, I think that the due process to me as a negotiator is that you call their chiefs to order. You meet the chief conference. You summon him to the chief conference, and if what he is doing is not in conformity, then the law takes its course.
The term Jarvis, can whatever the chief must have done or be doing be separate? Can it not be separated from his position as a traditional ruler? That's the first question. I want to read out what the minister said as the crimes of the traditional ruler. First, he said the traditional ruler is incitation. He's involved in incitation and instigation of insurgents in Cameroon. That is the second point. He is of characterized insubordination towards administrative authorities and equally active participation in forbidding public manifestations in Cameroon. These are acts that, according to the law, are not expected of any citizen in Cameroon. But now, when you are found guilty of these, how does it come to affect your position as a traditional ruler?
We always say in negotiation that you separate the people from the problem.
Yes.
And the problem here is that the ministers actually identify. I'm in no way supporting. I'm not supporting the minister, but I want to make it clear that the minister is working in conformity with the law, and the law states that if you are going against those principles which may deemed fighting against national interest or national security, you could go in for it. Again, I'm still saying that there's a due process for this.
Yes,
for me,
you can go in for it as a traditional ruler, assuming if these things were done by somebody who is not a traditional ruler.
Remember, nobody's above the law, and nobody should be below the law. Both persons should not be above the law and below the law. If the law is a law, and we should understand that Cameroon has a very controversial law when it comes to terrorism. It's very controversial and has been described by many scholars as being draconian, and it's not actually appropriate for a nation that has advanced democracy, as ministers always put it, that Cameroon has advanced democracy. Again, I will state here that the Minister of Territorial Administration, to me, in the process of, we are already in an escalating phase of a conflict in Cameroon, where northwest and southwest there's a conflict, the north there is a conflict, the east there's a conflict, and we are struggling to manage conflict in such a way that we don't further escalate. To me, that traditional ruler should have been invited. First, you issued an invitation letter call for him to come and explain his activities, because
those are the steps. Those are the steps. Which, according to the traditional ruler, were not explained, because he was contacted by Equinoxe Television a few minutes before news, and he said he was neither called and never suspended for 3 months as indicated. He only received.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said in one of the platform here, that the fact that you're a minister doesn't make you a negotiator. The fact that you're a mayor doesn't make you a negotiator. That's why all services in all the ministry, they are supposed to have conflict expert in all of the services, because one action you may do may jeopardize national security that you claim you are protecting. Remember that the first process, you call that chief to action. The second, you call for the chief conference. You summon that chief to a chief conference, because that chief is an administrator, represent the village. The next process is that you issue a warning letter and you take action.
Yes, and of course, this equally brings to the table the issue of traditional rulers involved in politics in Cameroon. Do you think it's time for them to play their roles as traditional rulers, auxiliaries of the administration, and forget about politics? Because the traditional ruler involved, His Majesty Bilingualism Ifa, is a member, a key member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party.
I remember that if a child is punished, that child will always tell you that you don't like he or she. I will tell you that traditional rulers in Cameroon have been political, especially in the southwest region and part of the northwest region. Normally, as a traditional ruler, you are supposed to be apolitical and non-partisan, because you are serving people in different political affairs. You welcome political ideas that are in conformity to development of your community. But sadly enough, we have seen traditional rulers overwhelmingly taking a political stand. A case in hand is in Limbe, where a chief will give key to one of the leading opposition party, Nijon Fundi. At the end of the day, some chiefs will come and ask for that key back. It tells you that the traditional rulers have already lost their place in the society. So when such a thing comes, the minister has that power, because they gave the minister the power. You gave the minister the power by citing yourself with a political party. If you are neutral or political, you can be crying foul. For now, he is just crying foul, of which he knows that it is because of his political action. He should pay for it. The truth is that if you choose to first to look for an investor who will be ready to dance the dance. The good thing, I will applaud some of the chiefs who are over almost about 20% are not politically affiliated. Yes, a chief has a right to vote. Yes, a chief has a right to vote, but that chief doesn't have the right to identify himself as a front runner of a political party. We have senators that are traditional rulers. What will you tell me as a citizen if, let's say, I'm of a party A and party B, you're in party B, and party B is the head of the party that controls the country, and you want to come and tell me something that I know is wrong? How will you want me to react to it? That's why we have a lot of disorder in our chiefdoms today, especially in the southwest region and part of the northwest region. That's why we have ministers shouting at chiefs. That's why we even have chiefs kneeling down and crying, knowing fully well that what they did is wrong. Crying. The people don't look at the cry, the people look at the party that you are representing. But if a chief that does not wear a political cap kneel down and cry, that people look at the cry. But now we are looking at the party crying, and we are seeing that you are crying because you want to go back, crying that please, we need peace, we need peace. These same persons cried before you asking for peace. This same person needed you to stand for them, but you did not stand for them. If you are political and if you are non-partisan, you don't have a particular party that you pay allegiance to, then when you kneel down and cry, the people look better cry. They don't look better party.
Yes, meaning it might be difficult for the people of the village concerned, that is the people of Mesa Kuba in the Yaoundé 2 subdivision, to all come out to defend the interests of their traditional ruler, because he already identified himself with a traditional, with a political party in Cameroon. I want us to advance and move further. We were talking about laws in Cameroon, some of them controversial, as you say. There's a bill at the National Assembly as of now qualified by many Cameroonians as a controversial bill. It has to do with the promotion of official languages in Cameroon. That's French and English. The bill as of this moment has been suspended. I'm talking about the examination of the bill after pressure from Cameroonians. You must have heard about it.
Yeah, I think that we are not serious in this country.
Why do you say so?
If we are serious, we should examine our steps. One of the reasons we are crying that we need peace. Peace is worked for. Peace is planted. Peace is nurtured. Peace is watered. Peace is you wait peace. You grow peace. We are crying because of the fact that the language disparity, and we are crying because of economic disparity. when the crisis started, a lot of those from the other side of the glass pointed that it was a linguistic problem. Now you have identified that it's a linguistic problem, and you want to still bring that linguistic problem, meaning that you make the judge in North and Southwest region choose which language they want to pass judgment, and they choose the French language that they want to pass judgment in the French language. And you know that the common man in the North and Southwest region is telling you that I am of a different background, that I understand English very well. So when you have to adopt that bill, it tells you, and we are in the heart of a crisis, and you still want to make French language dominant, and you preach bilingualism, and you preach equality of both languages. I think we are not serious. If we are serious, it is time for us to not just, that bill will not have even made its way to parliament, because common sense, even my mother in the village will tell you that we are advocating for bilingualism, for a good nation, that all, if not possible all, should be able to at least address the nation in French and English, and those in Northwest region should be able to be addressed in English. A law, according to, if you are to pass a judgment to somebody, that judgment must be passed in a language that person understands well, in such a way that that person can easily defend himself. We have a lot of people in prison today because they were passed judgment in French. They were judged in French, could not understand French. A local man in a corner who speaks Pidgin. You need a judge that understands Pidgin, a magistrate that understands Pidgin to judge that person, because that person understands only Pidgin language. And you come and ask that person, the person is confused and the person cannot answer.
It's Cameroon, and a bilingual country. In the Northwest and Southwest, we do not have Cameroonians of English extraction. We have Cameroonians of the other 8 regions of Cameroon. What's the problem if the law is made in such a way that you are judged in the language you understand best, irrespective of where you find yourself? In the Northwest or in the Southwest regions of Cameroon, how will Francophones be judged in these regions if French in the law court in these regions is not accepted?
I must tell you that, for me, Sana, let's be clear here. The language is a problem.
Okay.
The thing is that English, first of all, that bill will not have made should not have made its way to the parliament, because we are talking about special status.
Yes,
the special status is yet to arrive, and when that special status arrives, let us know the package of the special status.
I spoke with Barrister Henry Kemendeng even before news. He was speaking from Yaoundé. He said he is at the upper house of parliament, but he would never have allowed that law to pass at the level of parliament. Have we had Anglophones, elected officials from the Northwest and Southwest regions at the National Assembly who have so far pronounced, come out clearly to say that we are against this bill?
Yeah, we have had, especially the senator you spoke with. I think I equally had an exchange in one of our social platforms with him, and I'm quite happy that he has actually pointed out that, and we have somebody too who is not a senator or not an MP, Barrister Akeremuna, who equally pointed out that on his social media handle. I must tell you that we all want unity of unity. We want Cameroon to be united in diversity, but we must do things that will please everybody, and we will respect this socio-cultural, political, linguistic background of everybody. I did not pay to be an Anglophone, neither did somebody pay to be a Francophone. We just found ourselves in a system. We should respect this and promote it in such a way that it will be able to unite us than further divide us.
And not a bill that is taking us back to 2016.
Yes.
Okay, Tamai Jarvis, we are caught up by time there. Thanks very much for accepting our invitation today.
Thank you very much for me, Antron Sana, and good evening to all those in my town, Moya.
All right, to all of you watching us from Muya in Buya subdivision and in and out of Cameroon, thank you very much for your very kind attention. We're urging you to stay in the company of programs on Equinox Television. Happy weekend to all of you.